So now we move on to good old Overwatch here on the Last Inning Touchdown podcast, the lit podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcast, anchor.com/Last Inning Touchdown, on Twitter at Last Inning TD. So Overwatch League, I do know that there was a little bit of a signing, and honestly, I don't know if there were other ones, but it made some news that Valentine and Faith signed to Boston Uprising. They are two Contenders players. Personally, I have no idea who they are because I am not that deep into it. But their highlight reel was kind of cool. Their little highlight reel was kind of cool. And I saw some people on Reddit and different places saying that they don't think Boston is going to be a bottom feeder team. They don't think they're going to be good, but they don't think they're going to be a joke of the league anymore. So it does sound like some people have some faith in Boston going on this year. But more interesting, and it's been a while, I kind of forgot about this, but I was over last weekend, they completed that NeXT Cup, and what was pretty interesting to me was that Seoul Dynasty the first weekend beat like everybody. And then the second weekend, the Fuel beat Seoul, and then the Dragons beat Seoul. And so it's like, it kind of makes me look at it and go, maybe the Fuel are around the same level as these teams they're playing, and maybe they're not just being the Fuel where they play to their competition. You know, maybe they are good enough to beat some of these teams. And I know that I did read some of the tweets from some of the Fuel players and things like that, and basically they're saying that like playing the weekend before really help them improve for the following weekend. Like really getting to play and compete as a team and not just scrim really help them, you know, kind of mesh and become a nice little unit. And that paid off for them as they beat Seoul 3-2. And then I think the Dragons beat Seoul pretty handedly, and won the NeXT Cup, which I don't really understand how the seeding worked for that thing. Cause
I don't know.
A little confusing that Fuel beat Seoul, and then Seoul played the Dragons in the finals. So I guess it was like a round robin thing, I guess.
Yeah, it was a round robin. I don't know. We can't read that.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I could put it all in translate and hope, but I mean, it just appears to be a round robin type thing, which is interesting, which is fine because it's nothing too serious. But it was a little reassuring because I know last week's podcast I was kind of down in the dumps, thinking, man, maybe Fuel's not as good as I thought they'd be.
Oh yeah, everyone dumped on the Fuel, dude. After getting 6-0'd map count or whatever, they just dumped on them.
Well, so what's interesting about that is, though, I saw a lot of power rankings that still had Fuel pretty high up. And I remember seeing it, and I was kind of like, man, you guys are awfully confident in that. Either that or you just didn't pay attention to the games that just got done.
What would you say high up?
Like in top 5 teams.
Oh, like in the West?
In general. So they just had him in general. Right. So, but anyways, I did think it was promising to see them compete. Because I remember watching them play the Dragons, and I was like, wow, they're hanging in there, but they're not finishing any of these maps, which has always been Fuel. Like, that's always been the Fuel. But then they actually beat Seoul, and I'm like, oh, let's go. We just beat the team that dominated everybody last week. So, I mean, it does show that on any given day, Fuel can be good, and any given day, they can be good enough to actually win. So now we just got to see, can they be good enough to win over the season repeatedly? That's what I'm looking forward to at this point. And so
I'm looking right now at like a GM predicted ranking,
uh-huh.
like a general manager predicted ranking of the teams, and 75% of the teams has the Shock finishing in first place. And then
hey, that's a shock.
Yeah, 75%. No GM predicted them outside the top 4. They had the Fuel predicted to finish 3rd in the league.
So, you know what's actually interesting? And
the Outlaws to finish 10th.
I was looking at this on Anchor, and did you know that our Overwatch part of this podcast on Anchor actually has the most listens of all, like the most common section of our podcast to be on the top 10 listened segments? Overwatch
is the Igel rant segment?
Yeah, basically. That's pretty much what it is. But, I mean, we got to have some stuff due to the fact that there's not a league yet. Like there's nothing to do really. So it is news right now in Overwatch that it was basically reported that Overwatch 2 would not be released in 2021, and a lot of people thought it would be. I've even seen statements as far as, can Overwatch survive Overwatch 2 not coming out in 2021? And I think the answer is obviously yes. I mean, it's made it this long, and as much as people hate it, they still love it. It's made it this long. It is a little sad that we're not getting Overwatch 2, but that does make me think for BlizzCon, their big Overwatch announcement will be a new hero. I think we're going to be getting a new hero soon. It's been a while, and BlizzCon is coming up. Everyone thought we were getting Overwatch 2 announcement, but I mean, if you want to settle some of these people being kind of mad, a cool hero would definitely be a good way to, get everybody still hyped up about your game, keep people playing, things like that. I think that would be a cool announcement. I'd be just fine with that. And honestly, the thing is, like, all these people are so wins Overwatch 2, wins Overwatch 2. Like, I see it all the time on Twitter, like, and all the memes about how Overwatch 2 is never actually coming and this and that. Like, I don't think people realize that Overwatch 2 is basically just Overwatch 1 with some PvE. Like, that's my understanding of what Overwatch 2 is going to be, is that you're basically buying PvE story missions, and then they're just going to add to online a little bit, and that you can still play regular Overwatch as Overwatch 2 online. So I don't think it's going to be as dramatic as everyone is kind of making it seem. But maybe they will. Maybe they look at it and say Overwatch 2 is the perfect time to kind of reset some stuff that's wrong, that everybody is so mad about. I don't know. I'm obviously not in their head, but I do. Here's the risky side of video games right now. COVID has obviously messed up a lot of these developers, time frame on when they were going to release stuff. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it, pushing it back to make sure it's right. But once you start playing the game of it was supposed to come out and we're pushing it back, you have to get it right when it comes out. Because when you push it back to get it right and then it releases and it's still wrong, look at Cyberpunk. That game died. I mean, that thing 90 miles an hour into a brick wall. That is literally what happened to Cyberpunk, because it was pushed back like 4 times and then came out complete dookie. Complete dookie.
Unplayable on one of the systems. The fact that I don't know if Sony's ever released a major AAA release before, but they took it out of their store.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane.
Like, I said released, I think. I meant like they took...
right. Sony literally said, I don't want to make money off this dog dookie game. Like, that's literally what Sony said.
We have like the reviews and the refund requests and everything. They were just like, we can't do this. And some of the glitches are
bad. We've all seen it. Anyone who has followed any kind of gaming social media has seen all about how bad Cyberpunk found out. And there's still people that are saying, hey, it's a great game. It's a great game. You need to play. It's a great game. I believe you.
Sky, it's never going to recover.
I believe you that it's probably great. But once you have that press, it never comes back. And Overwatch is a game that is very popular, but has a very negative, connotation to it right now. Like, a lot of people are vocally against the state of Overwatch, despite the fact that I honestly believe a good 90% of the player base is perfectly fine with how Overwatch plays. But there is a huge vocal, people on Twitter that just hate on the game constantly. So if Overwatch 2 does not release in really good shape, that side of Overwatch is going to dominate the media of it coming out. They are going to destroy that game if it comes out and it is not everything people would hope. If it comes out and it's basically just like the event missions they have every now and then, where they have, Halloween has them and Archives has them, where you play those little PvE missions. And it's like, oh, it's kind of cool the first time you do it. And then you're like, okay, this is really easy. These bots suck. And like, it's really not all that fun to me. if that's literally what they make as the PvE for the game, there's going to be outrage. So
Yeah.
I really, really do hope that they come up with something cool on how to do that, because personally, I kind of like the backstories that come with all the heroes. I'm kind of into it. I know you're not as much, but I have watched a lot of those videos. I've read some of the comics. Like I've gotten into it. I enjoy it. So I do hope that because they've taken the time to do so much with that lore in the background, that they're going to really do its justice with that PvE side, because if they don't, that could actually be the end of Overwatch. I think Overwatch as is, if you just kept producing heroes, would continue to survive as is. I think it would. But if you release Overwatch 2 and it's a dud, you could kill the entire franchise.
Yep.
Absolutely could kill the entire franchise. And so that's where Blizzard has to be very careful. But yeah, I mean, we've got a new event that just started with the Lunar New Year. Have you gotten a chance to look at the skins that came out with Lunar New Year?
I saw the. I'm going to look at them now because I have it pulled up, but I only saw the Orisa skin.
Okay, so Orisa has a bowl skin, which is actually kind of cool, and Orisa's never really had a cool skin before. So that's kind of neat. Echo got a pretty decent skin. It's kind of just like a bird thing, but it's a well designed skin. It's a lot of good details. Reaper got a skin that's got a lot of nice little details to it. That's kind of the theme of these ones, is that they have just a lot of detail to them. And Bastion may have got the absolute goofiest skin I've ever seen. Bastion looks like a freaking dragon.
Yeah. Oh my god, his chest is a dragon. I wonder what he looks like when he's in the mode.
Yeah, it's absolutely kind of ridiculous, but it's kind of silly, and I always do like that Overwatch is willing to take that kind of extreme silliness with some of their skins. Overwatch has definitely done skins right. They have done a good job at producing skins that are interesting and fun to use and things like that. And then Ashe got a skin where Bob is literally a tiger, which is pretty sick. So Bob is a giant tiger in one of his Lunar New Year skins.
I'm going.
I'm going. It's a pretty cool little skin. Ashe is kind of whatever in that skin, but Bob is awesome.
Tiger Huntress. Oh my god, he is.
Yeah, that might be the coolest Bob, but Ashe is I don't know. I kind of think Ashe kind of looks lame, but Bob is awesome in that skin. And then also Reinhardt got a special skin with the BlizzCon ticket if you're willing to spend $60 on a BlizzCon ticket. But you get bonuses for all of Blizzard's games also if you buy it. But that's up to you and your pocketbook, what you can afford. Do not buy things outside of your family budget, or you will have no money. This is now a money podcast.
It's the hot take.
Yeah.
Mitch Trubisky podcast. Yes.
It's the hot take. Mitchell Trubisky could have been better than Patrick Mahomes.
It's the should I leave the dogs in here with you or leave them out podcast.
It is.
It's
the dogs have been hyped all night for this podcast, and we love to see it.
Yeah, it's gonna go back to me locking the dogs in here. They have been they barked that something happened. They barked something else, and then very recently they barked because I think my friggin' roommate moved. Literally just opened his door. They started barking like crazy, dude. Almost.
Yeah, they're just adjusting to new people living in the house. But I don't have anything else for Overwatch. Overwatch is still kind of slow right now.
I got nothing for Overwatch. I just want the lead to start. Overwatch to me is something that I play it here and then. We're actually gonna go play it right now.
So with that being said, though, thank you guys so much for stopping by the video, the podcast, however you get your information from us. We really do appreciate you guys so much. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. Make sure you're following the podcast on your favorite podcast site so you know when we upload. We do appreciate you guys. We will see you next time. Oh, I just smacked my mic.
Bye.